All right, so we are on a new chapter, chapter 6. As we said earlier, it's about quadrilaterals. So let's talk about what a quadrilateral is. I'll just shorten quadrilateral just to quad, okay? But it's quadrilateral, okay? Quad meaning what? What does that prefix quad mean? 4. What about lateral? What does the word lateral mean? And it's not just a line. So quadrilateral has 4 what? Sides, okay? So lateral means side. Okay, I talked about this before, maybe just briefly, you don't remember. But like if you ever play basketball or even football, you ever do that drill where they move the ball and they blow the whistle and you got to move left and right? It's called a lateral drill, okay? Why do they call it a lateral drill? Because you're doing what? Side to side, okay? Football, if you throw a lateral, you're throwing it off to the what? Off to the side, okay? So you've heard the word lateral before in sports, but in here it means side. So quadrilateral is basically a polygon. Whoops. How about an N instead of an M? With what? 4 sides, exactly. Okay, so that's the definition of a quadrilateral. Okay, quadrilateral is a polygon with 4 sides. So let's just talk about this briefly. Let me see. I don't have any. Yeah, I got a square. I don't want to use a square yet. Let's just use this. I'll just draw it. Boom. Boom. I'm just going to draw it. Okay, that's 4 sides right there, okay? And I'm going to copy and paste that. All right. So, what I want to do before we go on to the next thing, I want to do something that's important because it's within the definitions of what we're going to talk about right here. Let's talk about this side and this side right here. Those are arrows pointing to those 2 sides, okay? These 2 sides, or this side and this side right here, what would we say the relationship between those 2 sides are, do you think? They are what kind of sides? O, P, what? Opposite, very good. All right. If I were to give you any more guesses, I would add spelled out the whole entire word, okay? So these are opposite sides. All right, it's very important that you know that because when we talk about some of these definitions, we'll be talking about the opposite sides. I want you to know which ones are the opposite sides, okay? So these 2 right here are opposite. These 2 right here are opposite. Everybody got that? Okay. What about this one here and this one here? Are they opposite? No. Okay. They have a name though. Very good. Okay, so look at the sides that are next to each other. And we've talked about that. Do you remember the word consecutive? Talked about consecutive angles. Remember that? Remember we had alternate interior, consecutive, all that kind of stuff. Okay, consecutive mean they're right next to each other. Okay, so they share a vertex. So these would be considered consecutive sides. They're not angles. They're consecutive sides. Consecutive sides. Pretty easy, right? All right. Now, there's a bunch of different consecutive sides. Like this top one and this left one would be consecutive sides. This top one and this right one would be consecutive. This right one and this bottom one. They would also be consecutive sides. It's not just these 2. Okay, I just gave you one example. Everybody good with that? All right. Let's do another one. Okay, and let's talk about not the sides, but what do you think we're going to talk about now? The angles. So let's talk about like this angle. I'll just do this. We'll mark one with 1 and one with 2. What do you think we would say about these 2 angles? They're opposite angles. Exactly right, okay? And there's nothing like true about them. I mean, we don't know anything about that quadrilateral, if any of the sides are equal or any of the angles are equal or anything like that. It's just any 4-sided figure. The angles, and if you look at this angle is made up by these 2 sides. Well, this angle right here is made up of 2 completely different sides. Would you agree? They have nothing really in common, right? So they are opposite angles. So write that down, opposite angles. And again, we're going to use these words. I'll just shorthand it and put the little angle symbol here. Is that all right? All right, so let's scooch this over just so it gives me some more room. And then let's do one more, and then we'll be ready to do some real definitions here. All right, so what about this one right here and this one right here? Are they opposite angles? No. Okay, they actually share a common side, don't they? All right, and what do you think you said already, Gavin? consecutive angles? Because they're right next to each other. Consecutive. Did I spell that right? Yep. Consecutive angles. All right, enough of that. I almost didn't talk about those because I just thought it was kind of easy, but let's do this. Now, we are going to do, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 different types of quadrilateral. So quadrilateral are any 4 sides, okay? As long as the polygon, right, all the sides meet. As long as it's a polygon and you got 4 sides, as long as you have a polygon and you have 4 sides, then it's a quadrilateral. Everybody got that? So we have different types of quadrilaterals. And we're actually going to talk about, how many did I say? 5 of them? 5 types of quadrilaterals. We're going to have a lot of definitions today. That's what today basically is. Yeah, you got the book. You see it. Oh, you weren't even looking at the book? You remember these? Good. So the first type, it doesn't really, the number that we put on here doesn't make any difference. I said 5, so I'm just going to list the 5, okay? So the first one is called a parallelogram. So parallel, so you write, you know how to spell parallel, right? It's 1 R, then 2 L's, then 1 L. Parallel, all right? Or parallelogram, O-gram. Now remember, these are all types of quadrilaterals. So how many sides does a quadrilateral, how many sides does a parallelogram have? It's got 4, because these are all quadrilaterals, okay? But they're special types of quadrilaterals. They're not just any polygon with 4 sides, okay? They are polygons, they have 4 sides, but there is something special about them. And this is what's special about them. It's a quadrilateral. Again, I'm just going to shorthand quad. Is that all right? It's a quadrilateral with 2 pairs. That's my width, W and then a slash, just to shorthand it a little bit, being kind of lazy today. With 2 pairs of parallel, I'll shorthand parallel as well, parallel opposite sides. Okay, that's a lazy way of writing it. A lot of shortcuts here, but that's what it is. It's a quadrilateral, so it's a 4-sided figure with 2 pairs of parallel sides. That means both opposite sides have got to be parallel to each other. So if I was to, let's see, if I hit that and I hit this. Now technically that is a parallelogram, but I'm gonna, let's see, there should be a way to change. There we go. That's what I want. Let's go like that. There we go. That's kind of what an average looking parallelogram looks like. Okay, what I had before, it was a parallelogram, it's true, but this is what you'll see as a parallelogram. So what is a parallelogram? It's a quadrilateral. Do we have a quadrilateral? Yeah. And what's got to be true about the sides, the opposite sides? Both pairs of opposite sides have to be what? Parallel. That's right. That little symbol means parallel. So this side and this side are parallel to each other, and this side and this side are parallel to each other. Why did I put 2 arrows here? That's right, because the ones with 2 are parallel to each other, and the ones with 1 are parallel to each other. Everybody with me on that? We're going to learn a whole lot of stuff. In fact, I think we have a whole entire section just on parallelograms, all right? So today is kind of just it's kind of introduction to all these different quadrilaterals, okay? But we do have a whole entire section just on parallelograms. So there's a lot to know about parallelograms, but today we're just learning the definition of it. Everybody with me on that? So what does the definition mean? It means that both pairs of opposite sides are parallel. Got it? Okay. Let's do another one. You should recognize this, and that would be a rectangle. All right? So a rectangle, guess what it is? It's not just a quadrilateral, but it's a parallelogram. So Zion and Braden, I don't think you guys are going to last sit next to each other. So it's a parallelogram with 4 right, what do you think? Angles. All right? So it's a parallelogram with 4 right angles. And so What do you think that is right there? It's a rectangle. But it's also a what? And it's also a what? No, it's not also a square. A quadrilateral. That's right. Okay. So it starts off quadrilateral. That's like the most general one. Then we get a little bit more specific into a parallelogram, and then we get even more specific, and we make it a what? A rectangle. You with me on that? That the square is a rectangle, the rectangle is a square. Correct. And we'll talk about that, because what do you think the next one we're going to do is? Square. Right. So here is a rectangle. So you know a couple things already about the rectangle. First of all, you know it's got 4 sides. That was easy. But you also know something about the opposite sides. The opposite sides are also what? Parallel to each other. Why? Because it's a parallelogram. Everybody got it? So if I told you that this is a rectangle, automatically I know the opposite sides are parallel. So those two are parallel, these two are parallel, and all 4 angles are right angles. We good? Yeah, that was easy. What's the next one, do you think? Well, actually, you know what? We're not going to do square next. I'm sorry. We're going to do a thing that, yeah, you might have heard this before. It's called Rhode Island. Yes, for road. Right. It's RH. I don't know why, but it's rhombus. It's got an H in there. RH. All right. So guess what a rhombus is? Well, it's a quadrilateral, because all these are quadrilaterals, but it's also, no, it's also a parallelogram. Parallelogram with 4. Now, it's not necessarily right angles, but it's 4 equal, what do you think? Sides. Yeah, the book says congruent. I write equal. Is that all right? Hopefully that won't mess you up. Some geometry teachers would freak out by me saying equal sides instead of congruent sides, but that's okay. They can freak out. They're not exactly the same. Yeah, that needs to turn off. All right, so let me try to draw one. What does that look like? Yeah, it looks like a square, but I'm going to change the angle of it a little bit. Let's make it look like that. There we go. I don't know. I'm going to make it. I'm just kind of guessing. Well, it's kind of a diamond, but it's like just tilted. If you tilt it a little bit at an angle, I guess it would look like a diamond. But so here we go. So a parallelogram with 4 equal sides. So what am I going to mark here? I'm going to mark what? All sides equal to each other. Okay. So if you have a 4-sided figure with all 4 sides equal to each other, and the opposite sides are parallel, then it's a parallelogram. Or I'm sorry, then it's a rhombus, okay? If all 4 sides are equal, then it's a rhombus. Everybody got it? Does that mean that every rhombus is a square? Because we know every rhombus is a square, so you're saying this is a square. No. But all squares are a what? All squares are a rhombus. That's right. But every square, well, let's do square first, okay? That's the next one. All right, let's do square, then we'll look at it. How in the world did they put all 3 of you together? I should have looked at that list, and I should have known better. Okay. All right, let's take a look. Let's draw a square. I think I can do that pretty easy. Here's that. But I want to do a definition first before I. Come on, where is it? There it goes. All right, what do you think square is?
4 right angles.
Yeah.
4 equal sides.
Okay, 4 right angles, 4 equal sides. Or you could say this: it's a rectangle. So what does that make it? That's the 4 equal sides, right? If it's a rectangle, okay, with 4. Yeah, a rectangle automatically means there's 4 right angles. So rectangle with 4 equal sides. Or you could say it, so that would be true. That would make a square. Okay, or put an OR right there. Or you could say it's a rhombus. Let's make that look like 2 different words here. Or you could say it's a rhombus with, what do you think? With 4 right angles. Okay? Either way you say it would be true, wouldn't it? If you had a rectangle, what does a rectangle mean? You got 4 right angles. And if you have a rectangle, right, it's got 4 right angles. So that would be a rectangle, wouldn't it? Would you agree? So a square is a rectangle. Would you agree? Every square is a rectangle. But is every rectangle a square? No. Okay. Or you could say it's a rhombus. How do I know it's a rhombus? Because what? 4 equal sides. That's right. If it's got 4 equal sides, it's a rhombus, but it's a rhombus with 4 right angles. Okay? So a rectangle with 4 equal sides, okay, would be a square, or a rhombus with 4 right angles would be a square. Okay?
How could it be a rhombus but have 4 right angles?
A rhombus is what? What's the definition? It doesn't say that. It doesn't say anything. A rhombus doesn't say anything. Does a square have 4 equal sides? Then it's a rhombus. This doesn't say a rhombus does not have 4 equal angles or 4 right angles, does it? Nowhere in the definition does it say that. Okay, so what's a rhombus? It's just a 4-sided figure with 4 equal sides. Does a square have 4 sides? Are they all equal? Then it's a rhombus. Okay, is there 4 equal sides? Are there 4 right angles? Then it's a rectangle. Okay, everybody got it? So basically, if it's a rectangle and it's a rhombus at the same time, then it's a what? That's a square. Does that make sense? Okay. Everybody got it? So if it's a square, if it's a rectangle and it's a rhombus at the same time, both those things are true, that means it's got to be a square. Okay. Now, is every rhombus a square? No, because this is a rhombus right here, but it's not a square.
Wait.
Is every rhombus a square? No. Is every square a rhombus?
No. Yes.
Look, this is a square. Is every square a rhombus? Yeah, because a square has 4 equal sides, right? And so a rhombus has 4 equal sides. So yeah, that's true. Is this a parallelogram?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. It's a parallelogram because a rectangle is a parallelogram and a square is a rectangle. Is a square a rectangle?
It is a parallelogram.
Yeah, it is. Okay. Is every rectangle a square? No. All right. Let's do one more. This is the 5th one, I think, right? Did I go in? Yep, 4th, 5. We're not going to actually do trapezoid today. Actually, we will. Actually, I said 5, didn't I? There's actually... Watch. I know this is exciting stuff, but let's pay attention. There's not just 5. There's actually 6. I forgot because I put it on the back of my paper and I didn't see it. Yeah. All right. So this is a kite. Oops. It's a K. I-T-E. All right. Now, this definition is a little weird, so let's pay attention to it. It's a quadrilateral. So it's a quadrilateral with 2 pairs. Oh my goodness, my writing. With 2 pairs of equal, I'll just put equal right there, is that right? Consecutive sides. But whose opposite sides are not equal. All right. Say, what in the world? Let's see if I can draw this. About like that. We'll take this one out like that. And we'll take this one out like that. All right. Now, what does it say? It says it's a quadrilateral. Is this a quadrilateral? Yeah. It says with 2 pairs of equal consecutive sides. What does that mean? What are consecutive sides? So like this one right here would be equal. Well, that doesn't look equal, does it? These two are consecutive, but these two are consecutive, right? So this one and this one are equal, okay? And then here's another one to make the pair. You see it has one pair of equal sides here, one pair of equal sides here, but the opposite sides are not equal. So is that true here? Yeah, because this side right here and this one right here would be opposite sides, wouldn't they? Everybody see that? So they're not equal. Basically what it's saying is this almost fits the definition of a kite because look, this consecutive sides are equal, right? These consecutive sides are equal, but on this one, the opposite sides are actually equal to each other, aren't they? Everybody see that? But on this one, right, the opposite sides are not equal to each other. So that would be considered a kite.
So what is
All right.
a kite like its own thing? What like other things does it fit under? It's also a parallel.
It's not a parallelogram. It's just a quadrilateral.
That's it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a quadrilateral. It's not a rhombus, not a square, not a rectangle, not a parallelogram. Right. It's not a triangle because there's 4 sides. Okay, let's do one more. I said there's 6, so let's do the 6th one. And this one, somebody mentioned it already, and this is trapezoid.
Yo, this is my favorite one to see from the trapeze.
All right, so it's quadrilateral. It's not a parallelogram. Okay, it's a quadrilateral. I'll write the whole word out this time. So it's a 4-sided figure with exactly, watch, I'm going to even put this in all caps if I could spell it right. That's an E. Exactly. That's an E. Exactly one pair of parallel, I'll write that word out this time instead of writing the symbol, opposite sides. Opposite sides. All right, what in the world is that? Well, I'm glad you asked. So you got this, and then wait till I'm finished drawing it before you draw this out, because I'm going to put that about like right there. Okay. Go to there. Go to there. All right, let's take a look. It says it's quadrilateral. Is this thing a quadrilateral? Sure, 4 sides. With exactly, which means only one pair of parallel opposite sides. Which ones do you think are the parallel ones? The left and right or the top and bottom? Yeah, okay. So remember what a parallelogram is. A parallelogram, both pairs of opposite sides are parallel to each other. So is a trapezoid a parallelogram? No, because both sides would have to be both opposite sides would have to be parallel. Do you see that? These definitely are not parallel to each other, are they? Right here and here? No. If I extended them, they would hit. So they're not parallel. So if you have a 4-sided figure with exactly one pair of parallel sides or opposite sides, then it's a what? It's a trapezoid. It's a trapezoid. So let me give you an example. We only got a couple minutes here, but let's try to do this. I skipped example 1 in the book. I went right to example 2. So example 2 kind of looks like this. Like that. Don't put your books away. Why is everybody putting stuff away? It's close enough. It's not really drawn to scale. It's not perfect. But this side and this side are equal. So what is this thing right here then? It's a kite. So they actually give you some measurements here. You knew they're going to do this, didn't you? Watch. Y plus 2. That's this side. This is 5y plus 2. That's that side. This is easy. It's actually very, very simple. You hardly have to know anything about a kite to be able to do this. And it asks you to find the lengths of the sides. So, look, it's super easy. So this side and this side are equal to each other. So what do you do with the stuff right here? Just set them equal. So what's this going to be? 6y plus what? 6 equals what? 5y plus 2. You do the work, you solve for y, and y. I'm not going to do the work because of time, but you do the work, y is equal to 2. What do you do with those two? Set them equal to each other. So I'm actually going to put the 3 on the left. Is that all right? And then you do the work, you solve for x, and you'll get x equals 3. But is that your answer? Do you circle x and y? No, because they ask you to find the lengths of the sides, okay? I didn't write that up here, but they ask you to find the lengths of all the sides. So how would I find this one right here? I put y in, plug it in, put it in. 2 plus 2 is 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 3 is not 6. So that's 12. Do I even have to do any math to figure out what this side is? No. Why? Because they're equal to each other. So this would also be 12. Put 3 in for this. 3 plus 5 is 8. So that would be 8. Do I have to do any math to figure out what this one is? Nope. That would be 8. All right. You with me on that? Yes. All right. We got a little bit more to do, but your homework was, I'll write it down. It is on the John. So it's section, I'm going to call this A. We're going to make this 2 separate homeworks, okay? So this will be 2 different homeworks. Here's the first one. It's page 252. I think you probably should be able to do all of these. I'm pretty sure. Okay, so this is your homework, 1 to 18. Call it A because we're going to have 2 separate assignments, okay? So the next one will be B, obviously. There you go. So have that done. Start off the new marking period right. Get your homework done and ready to turn in tomorrow.